Okay, so what we have here is a few different triangles. What I'd like for us to do is figure out which ones are congruent to each other. So let's go over our congruence conditions first. We know two triangles are congruent if we have a side, an angle, and a side, or an angle, side, angle, or if all three sides are the same, side, 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 or two angles and a side, angle, angle, side. Also, for right triangles, we have our hypotenuse and leg. Again, remember that hypotenuse leg is only for right triangles. Alright, so let's go ahead and take a look at our first triangle here. We have triangle ABC. And in this triangle, we are given two angles and a side. We have angle A, which is 70 degrees, the side length 8, and an angle C that is 30 degrees. So we know we'll probably be looking for another triangle that also has an angle, side, and an angle, which is going to be this condition right here, angle, side, angle. So over here in our next triangle, triangle DEF, we can see that it's a right triangle because it's marked off right here. And in this triangle, we're given the length of the hypotenuse, which is 5. And then we're also given another side length, which is also known as the leg, which is 3. And this one right here is going to be our bottom leg, and this would be our vertical leg. So right now we're given the bottom leg, which is 3. So we know in this one, since we're only given two side lengths, that it's probably not going to be congruent to this one because we're not given any angles except for the right angle right here. So we can skip that one. Next, in triangle MNO, we are also given two angles and a side length. But before we say that they're congruent, we need to make sure they're in the order of an angle, a side, and an angle. So let's go ahead and check them out. In our first angle, we have angle N, which is 30 degrees, which is also one of the same ones over here in triangle ABC. And we're also given another angle that is 70 degrees, angle M, which also matches up with angle A over here, that's also 70 degrees. And the side length that's given in triangle MNO is also length 8, which is also the same length that's over here in triangle ABC. So far, they look like they're congruent because we have the same angles and the same side length. But again, we need to make sure they're in the order of angle, side, angle. So let's look over here. We have an angle, and a side, which would be under this condition, angle, angle, side. So this one isn't angle, side, angle. So we can mark that one off, even though we have the same angles and the same side length. Now let's look at our next triangle, triangle RST. This again is a right triangle, and we are not given any other angles besides triangle R that is 90 degrees. So we're going to skip this one because we know that it can't be congruent to triangle ABC. Over here in triangle JKL, we are given two angles and a side length. Again, the angles are 30 degrees and 70 degrees, which are the same over here. And we're also given the side length that is 8, which is the same in this triangle. So let's make sure that in triangle JKL, the angles and the sides are also in the order of angle, side, angle. Okay, so here we have angle J, which is 70 degrees. Okay, matches up with angle A over here. Then we have a side length that is on the same side as angle A, which is 8 over here. Okay, so far so good. And then we also have angle L that is 30 degrees, which is also on the side length of 8. So we can say we have an angle, a side, and an angle. And since they are the same angles and the same length, we can say that triangle ABC is congruent to triangle JKL, by angle, side, angle. Okay, so I went ahead and marked off our two congruent triangles, so that way we already know that those are marked as congruent. Now let's take a look at our next triangle, which is going to be triangle DEF. Again, notice that it is a right triangle, and we are given the length of the hypotenuse, which is 5, and the length of a leg, which is 3. So we know that we'll probably be able to use the condition hypotenuse leg. But we need to look at only right triangles in order to use hypotenuse leg. So let's take a look at triangle MNO. Over here, we know that it is not a right triangle, so we can mark this one off. Next, in triangle RST, it is a right triangle, so let's go ahead and look at this one a little more closely. Here, we're given the hypotenuse, which is also side length 5, so those match up. And then we are also given a leg that is side length 3, which is the same length as this one over here, but we need to make sure that they're the same leg. So over here, if we were to look at both triangles, we can see that the length of the leg that they give us is this one right here, RS. And in triangle DEF, the length of the leg that they give us is DF, this bottom leg right here. So we know that the legs don't match up here. So let's go ahead and mark that one off. And let's look at our last triangle over here, which is triangle XYZ. Again, it is a right triangle, so we know we can look at this one. We are also given the side length of the hypotenuse, which is 5. Okay. Then we're also given the length of a leg, which is also 3. So those match up. But again, we need to make sure that this is the same leg that is given in this triangle. So over here, we know that the leg that is given is the bottom leg. Over here, it is also the bottom leg. So we can say that triangle XYZ is congruent to triangle DEF by hypotenuse leg. And I'll go ahead and mark those off as well. So we're going to have triangle XYZ and triangle DEF. Okay, so before I let you try this out on your own, I just would like to give you a few things to think about when deciding if two triangles are congruent. So, when deciding if two triangles are congruent, think to yourself, are the angles in both triangles the same? Are the sides or the legs or the hypotenuse given in both triangles the same? And are they given in the same order? If you're able to answer yes to all three of these questions, then the triangles should be congruent.